Well, thank you. When I sat down, one of my table mates said, "Oh, I thought Governor McCrory was coming." So I'm sorry, I'm a third-string substitute backbencher for the governor, and I truly apologize for that. Speaking of Governor McCrory, I was reflecting, it's been almost a year to the date that I got a call from Pat McCrory about doing this job. And for those of you who don't believe everything you read in the newspaper, this was not a patronage appointment. I didn't know Pat McCrory, nor did he know me from Adam's House Cat. I had met him 2 times briefly, and my name emerged through the transition team as someone who'd had some environmental experience and probably been knocked down the stairs in every other sector of the private world. And so I met with the governor, and I didn't think anything was going to happen particularly soon. And I remember it was a Friday night, and I was on my way to the famous Wyrick Robbins Christmas party, and I was running late, and I looked at my cell phone, and I said, "Oh, there's a 704 missed call." And I had no inkling that they would move that quickly after I met the governor. I thought it was a friend of mine from Charlotte. So I hit the redial button and say, "Hey, Turkey, how you doing?" So the fact that I'm still here is I did a fair amount of backpedaling that day. I can that night. But when you talk about Pat McCrory, since I did not know him, and Herb at the table asked, you've been here a year, what are reflections? Let me give you a couple of quick reflections on Pat McCrory, because truly I've gotten to know him very well in the last year. He's a man that's passionate about fixing the state of North Carolina because we do have some operational breaks in the state. He's much more genteel about it than I am. I'm very candid. We have a very broken operating system in the state of North Carolina. And I only have 15 minutes, and I understand Senator Brown has some place to be, so I have to be quick or he's going to give me the hook. But never, Harry, never. I'm a little bit more forceful about broken government, but we'll get into that in another speech. Invite me back, and I'll give you a lot more detail. But Pat McCrory is absolutely passionate about fixing these operations, and he's absolutely passionate about fixing them the right way. And I'll give you one quick story. We were there for about 6 or 7 months, and all the cabinet secretaries were called to the mansion and said, "Look, we want to spend a day trying to decide what we've done right and what we've done wrong and what we need to do better and so forth." So he broke us into 2 groups. And he said, "You go this way and you go that way, and we're going to reconvene in the afternoon and we're going to compare notes." And there were 2 easels up there that each group was supposed to use to make notes on. And the governor started the meeting, and he walked up to one of the easels and he wrote one word. And that word was ethics. And he said, "No matter what we do, we are never going to lose sight of the fact that this is what we are all about. Ethics is going to be the hallmark of this administration. We are going to maintain an ethical posture no matter what we do, right or wrong. We are going to attempt to do whatever we do ethically." And I was very impressed, and I have found that Pat McCrory has continued to live by that standard and be passionate about trying to fix broken state operations. So when he called me that night, he said 2 things. He said, "I need you to take this job, I need you to protect the environment, and I need you to help fix a very broken economy." And we all know the data on that. I saw some good data that our underemployment is down to 14.1% from 17%. We clearly are making progress, but we have a long way to go. Certainly not what North Carolina has been accustomed to, being a manufacturing and an agricultural powerhouse. We'd experienced dips before, but we've never experienced major dips because we've abdicated a lot of the employers that create a lot of jobs offshore. We've got to get that back. We will. But we're not going to get that back without fixing broken operations. So he said, maintain the environment and grow the economy. And I said, Governor, I only have one prerequisite. I'm with you, I'm on board. I have one prerequisite myself, and that is you must let me hire the very best people I can. Because the only way that you can be successful is to surround yourself with people better than you are, and be serious about that. And so day one, maybe day two, after I found where the light switches in the bathroom was, we issued a new mission statement at Diener, and it had three primary components. And the mission statement number one says that we are a service organization, and it is our job to protect the environment, but also serve economic growth. We must be an agent of customer service. And as I tell our people all the time, we know the rules better than anybody. It's our job to help people through the rules, not make people fight their way through the rules. And the second thing is there always must be an economic benefit analysis. We've always got to weigh the benefits and the cost of what we're trying to do. Now, what has it said? Government's the only place where the smallest benefit gets paid for, irrespective of cost. Well, in the environment, that's very hard to apply because there's not necessarily a direct correlation. So we always must be mindful of the economic benefit that's contained in anything we do. And thirdly, and maybe the most important, is that at Diener, science is not political. We are not going to allow science to be political. I'm asked all the time, what's my position on different things from global warming to sea rise? And I say it is absolutely irresponsible of me and irresponsible to the taxpayers of North Carolina if I took a position. I have 2,000 scientists at Diener. Their job is to tell me those answers after they have looked me in the eye and told me that they have explored all aspects of the issue, that they know the fundamental science involved, they know all of the arguments, not just the political arguments, and they've reached a conclusion. So science is not going to be political, and it will not be political at Diener. So making sure I stay on time, let me just close by showing what I mean by affecting systemic change, because the governor said, he said, I appointed you and Secretary Vosh first because you had the biggest problems. Diener was considered the #1 obstacle to growth in the state of North Carolina. I had the president of Ashley Furniture, who is bringing 4,000 jobs to Davie County. Nice addition. Looked me in the eye and waved his finger in my face when I first met him, first week I was there, by the way, and tell me that North Carolina was the hardest place in the United States to do business. This is a man who has 11 plants around the world, 9 in the United States and 2 in the state of California, and he tells me North Carolina is the hardest place in the United States to do business, and was ready to leave. Well, the good news is we had the groundbreaking in April, and he was originally planning to bring 2,000 employees to North Carolina. He told me about a month ago that that number's up to 4,000. And he's expanding his footprint in Davie County to 3+ million square feet. He didn't ask me to cheat. He didn't ask me to bend the rules. He didn't ask me to break the rules. My commitment to him was we were going to help him get through the rules to get the permits he needed to do that. But in closing, I'd like to introduce to you 3 people. And when I talk about changing the culture at Diener, you're only going to change the culture at Diener by getting the right people in place, and in my case, getting people that are better than I am. And I have 3 people I'd like to introduce you. The first is Alice Miller. Would you stand up, Alice? Where's Alice? I want to tell you about these people. Alice is my executive assistant, was a full scholarship recipient to college, to Ave Maria University in Florida. And she is the person who keeps me between the guardrails every day. The second is Drew Elliott, who is my public information officer. Is Drew here? And interesting, Drew was a full scholarship recipient, Park Scholar, to the journalism school at Chapel Hill. Also has public and private sector experience. He's my PIO, and when I first appointed, I got a call saying, you know, you need a really good PIO, and my answer was, what's a PIO? I've learned very quickly that I need a PIO, or 2 or 3. I think we have 15 at Diener. And the third person is Cecilia Holding. And where's Cecilia? Is she over there too? Cecilia went to UNC Wilmington on a scholarship for technology, computers and technology, and a full scholarship recipient to Duke MBA school. Has public and private sector experience, and she's my special assistant for operations. And the reason I asked them to come along was to point out the type of people that I'm bringing to Diener that are not only better than I ever will hope to be, but they're the kind of people that are leading systemic change. All of these people have the ability to not only understand the policy, but understand the financial ramifications of what we're doing. They have the ability to scroll down and dig down to understand that cost-benefit analysis and to have our decisions driven not only from a policy and environmental standpoint, but from a fundamental economic standpoint. It is absolutely critical. So policy is fine. Diener has been loaded with policy people for many years, but we're now recruiting the kind of people that can also do the other side of the analysis. We are going to protect the environment. We're not going to bend the rules. We're going to keep adding wonderfully talented people, and we are going to help grow this economy. So thank you very much. I understand that we don't have an arrangement for questions, so we'll do that at some other time. My office is always open. My doors are always open. And you now know Alice, so you can certainly get through. So thank you very much.